What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including John Cena vs Cody Rhodes happening at WrestleMania 41, is The Rock returning, a major match change for Raw's Netflix debut, a huge WWE return coming, Cody Rhodes has some words on Brock Lesnar, Ric Flair wants one more match, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. And now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, first story looks at John Cena vs Cody Rhodes happening at WrestleMania. Now it seems that John Cena could really get that 17th world title win. As top of today's news is a report from this week's Observer concerning John Cena's opponent for WrestleMania 41. The reports of Rhodes vs John Cena are accurate as things stand right now. The idea of Cena challenging one of the two champions in an attempt to break the so-called record of 16 reigns that he and Flair share has been a working idea for months. The Observer report notes, at first, it was the Raw title given Rhodes vs Rock would be for the other title and the People's Belt. That isn't etched in stone because whatever Rock wants to do, he's likely able to do. Do you think that John Cena will really capture his 17th world title win at WrestleMania, going out with a huge bang in his final year in WWE? Next up is The Rock returning. Now, speaking of WrestleMania, will The Rock show up on the 6th January Raw to start things for a WrestleMania appearance? Well, they reflected on this in The Observer, saying that nobody had directly told us that Dwayne Johnson will be on the show, WWE Netflix premiere, but I think there was a good shot of it. There's a belief he's doing WrestleMania, although nobody knows what capacity and as noted. Now they discuss how much power the final boss has to change the WWE's plans if he's available, with them adding that Raw's debut is the perfect platform to set the stage for any Mania appearance because WWE expects Raw to draw in huge numbers. Next up, a major match change for Raw's Netflix debut, and has the WWE changed their stipulation for the 6th January Raw Women's World Championship bout between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. The WWE Universe is wondering whether they've been hit by the Mandela effect or if this is just another of the WWE quietly dropping a storyline. If you thought Monday's match between Liv and Rhea was a last woman standing match, well, you're not alone, as Wrestling News discussed the situation, saying last week during main event, WWE announced Morgan vs Ripley would take place in a last woman standing bout. However, fans have pointed out on social media that the match was advertised as a singles match during Raw Talk this past Monday. Now, while some fans accuse news sites of getting fooled by fake news, the reality is that WWE did advertise the match, and footage exists online. Why the WWE dropped the stipulation is anyone's guess, but hopefully this doesn't mean that WWE plans to continue the feud after Raw. This one really needs to be wrapped up now. Next up, a huge change for Raw debut. Now, it looks like WWE also changed a previously planned match for Raw's Netflix debut, as WrestleVotes claims that WWE moved the Women's Intercontinental Championship Finals match between Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria from the 6th Jan Raw to the 13th Jan episode in order to keep it from being lost in the shuffle, and we definitely agree. Next up, a title match planned for January Saturday Night's main event. The WWE has much going on, whether it's its Raw Netflix debut, the start of the road to WrestleMania, or its upcoming episode, a Saturday Night's main event. According to WrestleVotes, fans may see Chelsea Green defend a recently won Women's United States Championship. We're hearing creative is considering having a rematch between Chelsea Green and Michin for the United States Women's Championship to take place on the second edition of Saturday Night's main event on January 25th in San Antonio. It is possible the encounter could be a stipulation match as a way to cap off their long-standing rivalry. What do you guys think of this possible rematch at Saturday Night's main event? What stipulation would you put in though? Next up, a huge WWE return coming. Now, although the number of rumors can get aggravating at times, some fans still want to hear the latest, so here's what WrestleVotes has to say on its Backstage Pass show on Patreon, and the latest report is that Becky Lynch's return is expected imminently and that WWE has high-level plans for her at Mania. Those high-level plans could be a complete game changer in the women's division. Next up, did Bray Wyatt have bigger plans for the Wyatt 6? Now, there's fascinating news from Karrion Kross, who's letting fans know that Bray Wyatt had even bigger plans for the Wyatt 6 than originally believed. During a chat with personality Sam Roberts, Karrion revealed he had a lot of ideas. One idea is he wanted to create a group even bigger than 6. He wanted a representation of the group on each show. He was asking me to vet some of the people at NXT because he didn't know who they are. Kross explained the reason Bray wanted his help, saying he knew who he liked and he knew who had cool gimmicks and cool creative, but he said, I don't know these people and I don't want to invite people who are going to be problematic or marks for themselves. He's asking me to vet people in NXT to create a group for NXT. He wanted me to go to other shows so I could still be produced the same way and not lose lines. The leader of the Final Testament also talked about how Bray wanted to protect Cross, saying he's a real center man. He was trying to explain to me, if you stand next to me, I'm always going to be the one talking. You have something. I don't want to stifle that. Now, although Karrion Kross seemed like a good fit for the Wyatt Six, Bray's concern that Kross would be lost in the crowd suggests him thinking about the needs of other wrestlers. As fans have seen with the Wyatt Six, the group's members are wrestlers who have at times struggled to find time in the spotlight. However, that's changed as now a group where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Kross shared one of Bray's plans, which hinted at his long-term planning. He had one crazy idea. He wanted Wade Barrett to be an inside commentary guy. One day Wade was going to get up and bullhammer somebody, pull up the shirt, and he would wear whatever the logo idea was on the shirt. Now sadly, Bray Wyatt is no longer with us, but his legacy lives on through his many contributions to the wrestling industry, contributions that live on today with the Wyatt Six. Next up, Cody Rhodes reflects on Brock Lesnar. How does Cody Rhodes feel about his 2023 trilogy with Brock Lesnar? Rhodes battled a beast incarnate in a hellacious series after Lesnar destroyed him on the post-WrestleMania 39 episode of Raw. The American Nightmare shared his thoughts during an appearance on Two Bears One Cave podcast, saying, "So I don't need to say this, but I can tell you, if people ever wonder how real wrestling can be, the 3 matches I had with Brock Lesnar are the most competitive. And there's a thing when you work with a guy who's a big monster, where they'll make you earn it is what they'll say. You're not just grabbing my leg, even though that might be the spot." There are many anecdotes of Lesnar working a stiff style and in some cases refusing to work with talent he may feel aren't up to his standards. Cody detailed how he had to fight for every spot in his matches. "You're not just hitting me with that Cody cutter, it's not just happening that way. You have to actually earn it, and earn it as close to being in a real fight as I've ever been in my life. I look back at the 3 matches with Brock lovingly and proud of the body of work we put up." Lesnar reportedly went into business for himself at the 2023 SummerSlam loss to Cody, raising Cody's hand after the match, something many fans saw as Brock passing the torch over to Cody Rhodes. Next up, Ric Flair wants one more match. Now with 75-year-old Ric Flair getting ready for another match. But during a chat with 5 Star Podcast, Ric Flair hinted at another match but said it won't be in AEW. Flair praised AEW and its president Tony Khan, but revealed once Tony found out I was on blood thinners, he wouldn't let me get in the ring. What do you guys think of Ric Flair having another last match? If they do, get him in the ring with Jacob Fatu. I don't think he'll be working another match after that one. Next up, WWE shaking up ring announcer duties. Now it's time for a switch, as PW Insider is reporting that WWE is switching ring announcer Lillian Garcia from Raw to SmackDown and the Blue brand's Alicia Taylor to the Red brand. Garcia will debut on tonight's SmackDown. This is a big promotion for Taylor, given how much the WWE is building up Raw on Netflix. While this might seem like a step down for Lillian, the reality is that it's unknown how long Garcia will be staying in the WWE, and the company may be looking for a permanent replacement for her. We are wishing all the best for Alicia Taylor though. Next up, New Japan loses a US TV deal. That's bad news for New Japan Pro Wrestling, as the Observer recently reported that Access TV would no longer air New Japan TV content once their deal expired at the end of 2024. Post Wrestling's John Pollock added, "A representative for Access TV shared the following, and Post Wrestling inquired, 'We will not be airing New Japan Pro Wrestling for the foreseeable future. Our agreement expired at the end of 2024, and we do not comment on the state of the current or future agreements.'" Some fans and pundits believe New Japan's working relationship with AEW may have affected this decision. At one point, New Japan shared talent with TNA Wrestling, which is owned by Anthem Entertainment, the parent company to Access TV, but that hasn't happened of late. Given TNA's working relationship with WWE, it's possible Access TV didn't want to help New Japan. However, there may be other reasons, and this is a developing story. As some fans who watch New Japan Pro Wrestling regularly have noted, New Japan has dealt with some questionable decisions, including its attempted expansion into the US market. The idea that AEW's Tony Khan is responsible for New Japan's problem is conjecture at best and laughable at worst. And finally, a WWE exec returning to WWE soon. Where's WWE executive Bruce Pritchard? Both Pritchard and WWE writer Michael Hayes took time off for personal reasons, but while Hayes has returned, Bruce Pritchard hasn't, leaving to speculation whether he was still with WWE. PW Insider's Mike Johnson recently updated fans with this, saying, "The expectation within WWE is that Bruce Pritchard, the company's executive director, CWT, will be returning to his duties as soon as this week." Pritchard also took time off from his podcast, Something to Wrestle with co-host Conrad Thompson addressing Bruce's absence, telling listeners, "I just want to address the elephant in the room. There's been a lot of rumor and innuendo about Bruce Pritchard. Just to clear it up, Bruce is still with WWE. He continued saying, Bruce Pritchard is not quitting his podcast, but if you're a long-time listener of this show, you know there have been some health events in the Pritchard family and household, and right now, Bruce is going to take a little bit of a leave of absence from WWE, and it's going to be away, taking care of what's really important. And there have been many stories of the WWE giving wrestlers and staff time off to deal with personal issues, a remarkable contrast to the days when Vince McMahon ran the show. Any extended absence is always going to lead to rumor mongering, whether it's a wrestler's absence such as Jade Cargill or here a WWE executive. But there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.